Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because what we are tackling right now is going to completely revolutionize the way you approach your Cambridge examinations. We are diving deep into Cambridge information technology, specifically syllabus code 9626, and we're zeroing in on a topic that makes or breaks grades. Topic 7.1, expert systems and exactly how they produce possible solutions. Now look, let's set the scene. You're sitting in the exam hall, the clock is ticking down, and you turn the page to find a massive 10-mark question on expert systems. Instantly, we see two types of candidates emerge. Let's call them Alex and Sam. Alex panics and just starts overloading the page with raw, generic facts about inference engines and rule bases, completely ignoring any real analysis. Then you have Sam. Sam rushes the question, completely misses the specific command word requirements like evaluate or analyze, and just writes a basic description. Both Alex and Sam walk out thinking they nailed it, but both are going to lose heavy marks. A lot of students have a basic grasp of what an expert system is, but there is a massive, and I mean massive, difference between having basic knowledge and delivering the kind of gold standard, top mark evaluation that examiners are actually hunting for. Today, we're not just reading a textbook, we are transforming your approach by ripping open the examiner's own playbook. We've combed through years of principal examiner reports, and we're going to use their exact insights to build a rock-solid, foolproof exam strategy.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this right here is the absolute most common hurdle candidates face with topic 7.1. Think about our friend Alex for a second. Alex studied the textbook inside and out. Alex knows the definitions of a knowledge base, a rule base, an inference engine, and a user interface. But then Alex sits down for the exam, and the paper presents a completely unfamiliar context. Maybe it's an expert system designed to diagnose faults in an aircraft engine, or maybe it's one for medical diagnostics. Suddenly, those neat little textbook answers just do not seem to fit. Why is that transition from theory to application so incredibly difficult? The truth is, examiners aren't just testing your memory, they are actively testing your adaptability. They don't care if you can just recite what an expert system is. They want to see if you actually understand how expert systems produce possible solutions in real-world complex scenarios. And frankly, that requires a totally different kind of thinking. It requires you to decode the problem, identify the inputs, process the logic, and evaluate the outputs. If you just dump memorized facts onto the page without linking them to the specific scenario, the examiner is going straight for the red pen.
So here is our highly structured roadmap for today. We'll start with core principles, map out the procedural framework, dive into critical analysis, and finish up with top examiner warnings.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Core Principles and Theoretical Foundations.
To achieve true mastery in Cambridge IT, you have to demonstrate connected, conceptual understanding. Rote memorization of isolated facts simply will not cut it. The foundation of your knowledge needs to be structural. Look at this quote directly from the source. The principal examiner's reports explicitly state that candidates referencing cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. What does that actually mean for you? It tells us that the theoretical architecture of your answer must rest on precise definitions and clear causal relationships. You can't just talk about the inference engine searching the knowledge base as if it's happening in a vacuum. You have to integrate these concepts with other areas of the 9626 syllabus. How does the user interface impact data validation? How does the system handle security and data integrity when updating the knowledge base? When you get a question, you need to use a framework. Top students use something like the Peel framework: point, evidence, explanation, link. You make your point about the expert system, you provide evidence from the scenario, you explain how the inference engine uses forward or backward chaining to reach a conclusion, and then you link it back to the specific command word in the question. This is how you show the examiner that you understand the big picture.
Before we continue, subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. All right, let's look at this text comparison, because this brilliantly illustrates the clear dividing line between average and exceptional candidates. On one side, we have superficial breadth. This is the classic Alex approach. The student sees the words expert system and just lists every generic fact they can remember, hoping something, anything, sticks. They write a mile wide and an inch deep. But the Cambridge Assessment Framework actually penalizes this approach because it fails to address the specific command word. On the other side, we have analytical depth. The top-performing candidate decodes the command word immediately. Are they being asked to describe, explain, or evaluate? They use logical, structured reasoning. They take a few highly relevant principles, like how the rule base applies if-then rules to user inputs, and they drill down into them. They show exactly how those rules apply conceptually to the unique problem in front of them. It's a complete transformation of the answer. Remember this: depth wins over breadth every single time.
Moving on to Section 2, The procedural framework. This is your technical methodology.
Think of this as your tactical, step-by-step framework to tackle absolutely any past paper question they throw at you. You don't have to panic or guess how to structure your answer. You just follow this standardized sequence. Step 1, identify the key elements. What is the command word and what is the specific context? Step 2, apply the relevant principles from the syllabus. Which parts of the expert system are actually relevant here? Step 3, execute your analysis with clear, visible working, build your peel paragraphs. Step 4, verify your results against the scenario. Did you actually answer the question they asked? And Step 5, present your findings in the appropriate format. If we were to do a live 60-second speed writing challenge right now, the students who followed these exact 5 steps would completely transform their red pen marks into green check marks. By systematically processing your answer through this sequence, you virtually guarantee that you are hitting all the required assessment objectives. It takes all the guesswork out of it and turns exam anxiety into a repeatable professional skill.
And this brings us to a highly rewarding concept that so many students overlook, the method mark strategy. In topic 7.1, when you were explaining how expert systems produce possible solutions, marks are heavily awarded for the process itself. Examiners want to see your execution. When you explain the logic of an expert system, you are essentially tracing how the inference engine moves through the rule base. Practical application requires correct formats, proper headings, and appropriate terminology. Are you talking about forward chaining or backward chaining? Are you explicitly mentioning how the user interface gathers the initial facts? Even if your final evaluative conclusion is slightly off, showing clear notation and clear explanation along the way proves you understand the underlying methodology, and that earns you method marks. Do not hide your thinking in your head. Put it clearly and systematically on the page.
Let's jump into Section 3, Critical Analysis, Evaluation, and Insights.
Stop scrolling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations. We've helped thousands of students improve by 2-3 grade boundaries. Join them right now by subscribing to @acetheexams_IGCSE and turn on all notifications so you never miss our weekly exam strategy sessions. All right, let's get back into it. If the procedural framework gets you a solid passing grade, this evaluative phase is what catapults you to those elusive top marks. It's about moving beyond just describing an expert system to actively evaluating its performance. Imagine we're doing a Find the Flaw workshop right now. If I show you a paragraph that just says, "The expert system is good because it is fast," you should instantly recognize that as a weak, low-mark answer. Top-scoring candidates do 5 specific things. First, they identify the limitations of the expert system. Maybe the knowledge base is outdated, or maybe the rules don't cover rare edge cases. Second, they question the assumptions made by the system. Is the data entered by the user actually accurate? Third, they actively consider alternative interpretations of the data. Fourth, they evaluate how these factors affect the final conclusions produced by the inference engine. And fifth, above all else, they justify every single decision with concrete evidence from the text. It's a rigorous, almost scientific approach to dismantling the question.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, Examiner Warnings and Pitfalls.
We are now looking at the exact opposite of that high-level evaluative thinking. These are the recurring mistakes that the Cambridge principal examiners have explicitly flagged in their reports year after year. Let's look at the top 3 student mistakes. Number 1, confusing cause and effect. A classic example is a student saying the inference engine stores all the facts. No, the knowledge base stores the facts. The inference engine applies the rules to those facts. Getting that backward kills your logic marks. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. This is our friend Sam's biggest mistake, rushing through, ignoring strict conventions, and writing a massive block of unreadable text instead of structured paragraphs. And number 3, providing generic answers that aren't specific to the context given. This is Alex dumping textbook definitions. A great way to avoid these traps during exams is to create your own memory hack. Make a mnemonic using the first letters of these key terms, like C, F, G for cause, format, generic, and write it at the very top of your paper when your exam starts so you can check your work against it before you finish. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it is the ultimate rule. It's the core of our final system. The absolute most classic mistake candidates make is ignoring context. Let me say it again. You must always link every single point to the given scenario. You can write the most beautifully detailed, technically accurate 500-word description of an expert system's architecture, but if it is a generic textbook answer that doesn't reference the specific, unfamiliar context provided in the question, whether it's diagnosing plant diseases or troubleshooting network errors, you will lose those marks. Examiners are ruthless about this. Your time management matrix during the exam has to include time dedicated specifically to mapping your theory back to the scenario. Context is absolute king here.
We've covered the core principles, we've broken down the procedural framework, we've explored critical analysis, and we've highlighted the exact examiner pitfalls you need to avoid. So I leave you with this final, provocative thought. How will you adjust your analytical framework for your next expert systems past paper? The blueprint for mastery is literally right here on the screen. Take this precise, context-linked, step-by-step strategy, apply it to your studies, and watch your mark potential shoot from 0 to 100%. Students who implement these computer science strategies see an average improvement of 2 grade boundaries, but only if they practice consistently with our weekly videos. Here's your final reminder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Ace the Exams at acetheexams_IGCS to excel in your Cambridge examinations. Subscribe right now to @acetheexams_IGCS and click that bell. Don't let another exam pass you by. Drop a comment below with your target grade for computer science and the biggest challenge you're facing. Our team responds to every comment. Like and share this video with a study partner. Ace the Exams. Your Cambridge success starts here.